Hey guys, what's up? What's poppin'? Today we're going to be making delicious chocolate chip brown butter cookies. So here are ingredients: some dark brown sugar, eggs, salt, flour, regular sugar, heavy cream, vanilla, baking soda, 2 sticks of butter, and some chocolate. So let's get started. So for the 2 sticks of butter, just go ahead and roughly chop them into sort of tablespoon sizes just to make it easier to melt. And we're gonna reserve one of the sticks aside in a bowl, and we'll get to that later. And then the other stick, we're gonna go ahead and brown on the stove. So this should take maybe 3, 5, 7 minutes, depending on how cold your butter is to begin with. And just make sure you're sort of stirring constantly so your butter doesn't burn. And once your butter starts to really bubble, you know you're getting closer to this stage of brown butter. And then once you sort of start to see those brown particles on the bottom, that's when you know you have brown butter. And you should also smell sort of that nutty flavor in the air. So straight onto our butter, we're going to pour our brown butter straight off the stove onto the butter. And that's just going to melt itself right there. There's no need to stir it or anything. Just leave it there. And then to that butter mixture, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of heavy cream or milk, or any sort of dairy substitute you'd like. Just go ahead and add that in there, and you can just set that bowl aside for now. It's just going to melt on its own. Just let it be, let it do its thing, and we're going to work on our dry ingredients. So we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour going in a bowl, along with 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Use less salt if you're using table salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then just go ahead and whisk that together until it's incorporated. Back to our butter mixture, we're going to go ahead and add our sugars. So I've got 3/4 cup regular granulated sugar, and then we've got another 3/4 cup of dark brown sugar. And I would really make sure that you're using dark brown sugar because it has a sort of deeper flavor than light brown sugar. And not only that, the dark brown sugar will really help with the flavor of your cookie. So I think it's really important that you actually are using dark versus light brown sugar here. So just whisk that together 40-45 seconds until it's really combined. And then after that, we're going to add our eggs. So 2 eggs going in here. Make sure your butter is cool so you don't end up with scrambled eggs. That's an important step. It should be pretty cool though by this point. So add your eggs and then add a tablespoon of vanilla. I know it seems like a lot, but in the end, you know, it's really not that strong. So I don't know, it just works out. So go ahead and whisk that together another 40-45 seconds until it's silky smooth. We don't need it to be fluffy or anything because the cookie's going to end up being pretty flat and crispy. We're not going for a fluffy, voluminous cookie here. And then next we're going to go ahead and add our flour mixture. So just go ahead, incorporate that, whisk that all together. So it's looking pretty thick-ish at this point. And I'm just going to go ahead and switch to a spatula so I can scrape down those sides. And lastly, we're going to add our chocolate mixture. So I am using some bittersweet chocolate discs. I chopped up a 75% dark chocolate bar, and then I'm also throwing in some milk chocolate chips I just had in the cupboard. I wanted to use up just a few of them. And I'm just going to throw that into my batter and mix it up. I do think it's important to use different textures and different levels of chocolate here so that every bite is sort of a little bit more complex. And I think that when you use different sizes of chocolate, like when you chop up a chocolate bar, it really comes across better also in like the appearance of your cookie. So I really recommend if you have chocolate bars, use that instead of just a bag of chocolate chips. And then we're going to go ahead and scoop our batter in this 1/4 cup measure and put it on a baking sheet lined with some parchment paper. You can put them close together right now because this is just to put in the fridge to chill overnight or the freezer. So this is just to sort of let the flavor develop overnight, and that's going to also help the cookies spread better and bake better once it's already chilled. So I'm just scooping them onto this baking sheet, and once that's all done, they're looking so beautiful. They smell so good. I'm telling you guys, that brown butter with the heavy cream and the vanilla, so good. And they were looking so pretty in this afternoon sunlight. Oh my gosh, I seriously couldn't wait. So I put those in the fridge overnight for about 10 to 12 hours. The next morning, they're nice and hardened, so they're very easy to handle. So I'm just picking those off the baking sheet so I can sort of align some of them to bake. So Claire says to put 6 on a baking sheet. So I did that initially, but I actually changed it to 4 because I don't think my baking sheet was as big as hers, because they need to be 3 inches apart because they're going to spread a lot. As you can see, they're huge cookies. So okay guys, it's time to try the finished cookie. Honestly, these cookies are huge. Like, they're as big as my hand. So, and they spread so much on the baking sheet. Like, even if I put 4 on the, like, they still touch. So if I made it again, I would definitely make them smaller because they're like seriously gigantic. They're like as big as a plate. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they taste compared to like that 48-hour cookie that I made, the brown butter cookie. But brown butter seems to be the trend nowadays. But here we have the cookie. It looks really good. The color is really nice, and it has like those nice ripples on the edge. It makes it so crispy on the corners. So here we go. These are much better than the 48-hour cookies that I made before. Was it 48-hour? These are really good. Honestly, I don't know how to describe. Like, it has crunchy edges, it has like a nice soft middle, but not like too soft, and the chocolate is just right. It does have like that nutty brown butter flavor, but it's also like very like rich. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very rich in flavor. Maybe that has to do with the dark brown sugar and the heavy cream that we mixed in. But it's very, very, very good. I think this is the best cookie I've ever had, to be honest. But I will say, I made these once when I first got the cookbook, and I was too lazy to let them chill in the fridge overnight. So I just kind of like put it in the freezer for like 30 minutes just so it could harden up. And they did not turn out like this at all. Like, the ripple, they didn't spread as nice, and they didn't have like these like, you know, like the nice edges here, like these nice edges, didn't have that at all. So I really think that chilling it overnight is really important to get that look and to get that crispiness and to get the flavor as well, because if you try to cheat it and put it in the freezer, it's not going to turn out as well. So definitely make sure you have time to make these ahead of time. But they'll definitely be super worth it because this is really good. Yeah. Sorry, I haven't made any of like the complicated things from the cookbook because I really just haven't had time. But hopefully coming up in these next few weeks, I can make something a little bit different. I want to make the blood orange upside down cake, the one that's on the cover of the cookbook. I think that one looks really good, so I'm gonna try and make that maybe in one of the next few weeks. But thank you for watching, and I highly recommend this cookie. It's super good. Just make it a little bit smaller because, like, honestly, this cookie is huge. Okay, I kind of broke it, but like, it's like the size of my face. So, and that was like the recommended size. So I would just make it like literally half that size, unless you just want huge cookies. But okay, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.